that. So you're late at work counting all that money from those tickets.
$2.1 million a year, thank you.
And then it's over to the bar for a little relaxation.
A little Guinness, a little Jameson, everything's okay.
Okay, I got you. Okay, our last candidate from Fanwood is Daniel Levine. Okay, we'll get you. And he is running on the Democratic ticket.
Thank you. Thank you for hosting the event. I'm Dan Levine, and this is my first time running for public office, but I've served in government before, largely at the state level. Before I get to that, I've lived in Fanwood for 26 years. Discovered when my wife grew up in Boundbrook, knew about the town, and when we got married, here's where she wanted to live. So that's how I ended up here. Professionally, what I do primarily is what's called corporate relocation work. It's strategic advising to companies on where to locate facilities and do related management consulting. I want to talk a little bit about my public sector experience, which has been both in New York City Department of Finance, New Jersey Division of Taxation, and the State Treasury here. At City Finance, New York City Finance, as well as Division of Taxation, I was responsible for streamlining governmental operations. So I actually, unlike a lot of people, I've actually worked in bureaucracies, cleaning up backlogs, figuring out new procedures, figuring out how to do more with less. It's a similar sort of skill set to when corporations are looking to streamline their operations and facilitate as well. When I was in the Treasury Department, I actually was an assistant state treasurer responsible for attracting business here to New Jersey. So in those years, I worked on deals that brought companies like Verizon and Towers Perrin and Celgene here to the state. So it's that sort of inside, outside, that sort of corporate perspective, as well as actually having worked with government bureaucracies to streamline, is the focus that I'd like to bring. I do think we have very challenging times. I don't think it's going to get any easier. And property tax reduction and delivering smart services is what we have to do. And I'd like to try to have an opportunity to bring my expertise and help solve those problems. So that's why I'm running. Thank you.
Okay. And we go back to Scotch Plains. And Ed, your position was #1, but you lost that to Colleen. So here we have EdSeradaki. He's running for Town Council, Scotch Plains.
First, I want to thank Alan and Frank for inviting me to be here. I see a lot of familiar faces. If you aren't familiar with me and what I've done here in town, I grew up in Westfield. My family's been in Union County since 1914, either in Westfield, Scotch Plains, Fanwood, Rawway, Mountainside. I am a lifelong Republican. My wife and I moved to Scotch Plains in 1976, a year after we were married. We bought our home in 1978. My kids both graduated from the high school, having gone through the entire public school system. And from 1996 to 2005, I served on the Scotch Plains Fanwood Board of Education. So if you think the budget's too high, you can yell at me, but I always voted no anyway. I am an accountant by trade. I spent 12 years going to school at night to get my degree while I worked full-time in construction and retail trades. I've been a controller since I graduated from college in 1988. I'm currently employed by a children and young adult book publisher that supplies schools and public libraries with nonfiction reading materials. And I am tired of sitting on the sideline. After I retired from the board, after my kids had graduated from high school, my participation in board activities was very dependent on being involved with the kids in school. And once my kids were out, I didn't feel that I could properly represent both the taxpayers of the community and the children in the school district. So I spent 5 years on the board of, I was president of the board for the Congregational Church in Westfield. Did all the finance, did all the budgeting, and I retired from that a year ago to concentrate on my job, because we run into financial difficulties with public budgets being hacked and cut. And now that we're back on stable ground, I feel I can get back out into the public sector and I'd say volunteer, because the amount that the Scotch Plains representatives are paid does not cover the time and effort that they put into managing the town or assisting in managing the town. But it is far and above more than what we got paid on the Board of Ed, because I got bupkis for 9 years. In fact, probably spent more out of my pocket on all the driving around and the other things that I spent money on for the district that I never asked for reimbursement, because I was doing it because it was a passion of mine. One of the main reasons I have decided to run for town council, I'm concerned about the acrimony in town hall. I'm concerned about the fact that we don't have a township manager at this point, and the economic situation in general. I have not had a raise in 4 years. I'm making almost 50% of what I made in 2002 in order to keep my company running. And it bothers me when I see people getting raises every year just because they're still alive, still breathing, sitting in the same chair, doing the same job year after year. I want to see things change. I want to see some structural changes in our government, from municipality all the way up through the elimination of the county freeholders in the county government, and a modification on how our state does business. And I think starting at the grassroots is the way to go. If you'd like to know more about me, I'm sure that you can find plenty of articles in the Westfield Leader, the Scotch Plains Family Times. I'm not shy about opening my mouth. I wear a size 10.5, and a lot of times it's firmly planted in my throat, so it can be really entertaining also. But I appreciate it. If you come out, give me your support. I believe a lot of your movements, a lot of what you're looking for, and when I do, I will support you 110%. Thank you.